Warm. Deliciously warm. That is how Brigid would describe the sunbeams spilling over the peaks of mountains in the distance, flooding her and the newly sprouted seedlings of the glen in the golden light of the reborn sun. These sunbeams were so delicious, in fact, that Brigid did not want to let go of them just yet. She drank them in for a long while, eyes closed, radiantly and bravely mingling every drop of her bliss into the almost liquid feeling that made each freckle on her face feel as if it was a star, plucked from the night sky and placed right there on Brigid's nose. Eventually the time came that the sun was almost fully risen, and Brigid was nearly full to the brim with radiant light. This light was so warm and deep, she knew she wanted to share this light. But how and with whom was a directionless endeavor for the young goddess. However, Brigid knew who would know where she could share this light, so she set off to find her father, the Dagda. Not before quickly plucking the first sunbeam of the morning that was threatening to sneak away behind a large standing stone and braiding it adeptly into her long red hair. Eventually, she made it to her father and asked, "Where can I share this light? Where shall I go?" And her father took in his glowing daughter for a long moment and said, "You are full to the brim with inspiration. Go to the great eagle of the east. Seek what learning you may from her." And so Brigid went. She climbed higher, higher, and higher still over jagged rocks and massive boulders. Up, up, up rocky slopes until finally she reached the nest of the great eagle of the east. The eagle was singing to her young the song of the dawn, trying to get her fledglings to greet the day so they could soon take flight. Brigid was moved. Kneeling, tiny droplets of gold fell from her eyes as she wholeheartedly said, "Never have I heard a song so sweet and pure, so full of hope and possibility. Will you teach me your song?" The eagle piped a few soft notes before replying, "The song of the dawn belongs to us all. It is to be given freely, so once you know it, you must teach it to anyone who would learn. It is not something to be hidden from the world." "Sister Eagle, teach me the song of the dawn, and I will share it with all of the poets and bards of the world, and this glorious song will live eternal." And so Brigid learned the song of the dawn, as the first ray of the morning faded from her braids, and the light she held within her began to shape itself into something new. She went into the world and kept her promise, teaching the song to anyone called to the way of inspiration. And thus Brigid became the patron of all the poets and musicians in the world. However, the more Brigid sang the song herself, the more she could feel the light within her weave itself into the fabric of her being. And soon, Brigid felt it was time for her to seek new ways to share this light. So again she went to her father and asked, "Where shall I go?" He listened to Brigid sing the song of the dawn, and as he wiped a tear from his eye, he said, "The summer is upon us. Go and visit the great stag of the south. See what he will teach you." And so Brigid went. She walked for days and days in the summer sun, not bothered by the heat one bit. By the time she made it to the cool reprieve of the tangled woods of the south, Brigid had a great many more stars resting on her nose, and a warmth that radiated through to her core. At the edge of the forest, Brigid caught a glimpse of the great red stag of the south, to whom she quickly gave chase. The stag was swift and fleet of foot, but so was Brigid. Miles upon miles they matched one another until finally they reached a clearing in the forest. The sun reached its zenith, and so did the competitors. The great stag bowed its head and massive horns to the goddess before saying, "I know what you seek. Had you given up in defeat, I wouldn't even consider giving you my tutelage. You will need every drop of tenacity and drive to learn the way of the healer, to battle illness, to mend what is broken, to go where you are needed. In this you cannot falter." Out of breath, Brigid returned the great stag's courtesy and bowed before saying, "A great and endless fire burns within. I will use it to blaze this path. Brother Stag, I will not falter in my care." And with an emblazoned spirit, Brigid learned the way of the physician, the healer, and she went back into the world and taught anyone who wanted to learn, and who also knew when to tend the fire inside and when to let it rage. For many years, Brigid tended the fire within, and eventually she made it back to her father, the Dagda. She made them both a healing tea and asked, "The fire within rages. Where shall I go?" Her father sipped his tea and then said, "Go calm your flames. Go visit the salmon of the west. See what she will teach you." And so, Brigid went. Eventually, Brigid came to a very old hazel tree, who had a spring beneath its roots that turned into a very large, clear pool full of colorful stones. It wasn't long before the great salmon of the west approached the goddess and asked, "Brigid, daughter of the Dagda, you are quite far from home. What do you seek here in my pool, hidden in the roots of the hazel tree?" With a deep sigh, Brigid replied honestly, "Wise salmon of the west, I don't know what it is I seek here in your pool. I've learned the song of the dawn from eagle and the way of healing from stag, yet my spirit is restless and wild. The song of the dawn has woven inspiration into my very bones. The way of healing has lit a fire in my belly that will never extinguish. Yet I do not know what it is that will calm my soul." With a comfortable moment of silence between them, Salmon replied, "Radiant child, all my wisdom is but a drop in the well your spirit holds. Nonetheless, I will teach you." And so, Brigid learned the wisdom of water, of deep water, still water, and rushing water. She learned to bring life through the portals of water, and how to call to the other realms through the deep waters of the earth. She learned that there was always a flow to things, and that you simply had to look for it and it would be there. Brigid spent a whole year with Salmon, and by the time she left, the hazel trees were once again glowing red with their glorious autumnal color. In Brigid's next year on Earth, humanity flourished in her light. Poets and musicians danced daily with the muses, new strides in medicine were made, and the spring was the most abundant spring to date. Again, Brigid found herself among the autumn leaves and looked to the clear, cold sky. She sent a silent call to her father and hoped he'd understand that now she knew where to go. Brigid walked silently to the north. Eventually, she met snow-covered mountains, and tending the fire within, kept on until she came to an opening of a very large cave. At the mouth of the cave, Brigid knelt and said, "Great Bear, guardian of the North Star, my name is..." And a thundering voice from the depths of the cave cut her words short. "I know who you are, Brigid. Are you still not satisfied?" At this point, Brigid understood when to stay silent. I'm not surprised to see you here, goddess. You inspire all who desire it, heal all who need it. All the earth you walk on delights in prosperity, and what have you saved for yourself? Come, the secrets I keep can be used to wage war or to craft beauty and light. This choice belongs to you, and to you alone. And so, Brigid went into the heart of the earth and learned the way of the smith. Far below, with specks of light turned to raging flame, quenched by cold waters, Brigid found her core. When she finally emerged from the cave of the Great Bear of the North, the first rays of the spring sun were promising to peek over the horizon at any minute. Closing her eyes, she felt the rays, just as delicious as ever, flood to her newly forged core. Radiant and alive, Brigid took a deep breath before she opened her eyes. Plucking a sunbeam to braid into her hair, Brigid started the long journey home.